Moment of a force. Forces can move objects by turning them around a pivot. A long bar that pivots is called a lever. When you push down on one side, you're applying a force. The object on the other side, which is called the load, moves up. Using a lever magnifies the force and makes the objects easier to move. Using arrows drawn in the correct direction, label the load, the pivot, and the force in the diagram. Well, this is the load, and the arrow would be pointing downwards to show the force coming from the load. This is the pivot, and this is the force, and it would also be acting downwards. Now, this force would be acting in an anti-clockwise direction, and the force from this load would be acting in a clockwise direction. Describe what happens when Jenny applies a force at one end of her lever. She will be able to lift the load. So just a moment, which spanner would you use to turn a very tight nut, and what could the person do to make it even easier to turn the nut? Well, the person would use this spanner because it's the longest, so it maximises the distance between the force and the pivot, which will make the moment greater. And to make it even easier, the person could move their hand to the very end of the spanner. Which is the best place to push on a door to open it, at the hinge or at the door edge? You would open it at the door edge because it maximises the distance between the force and the pivot. And when you move something about a pivot, you're creating a turning effect. Now, the turning effect depends on two things: the size of the force and the distance of the force from the pivot. The turning effect of a force is called its moment, and the moment is calculated by the formula moment equals force multiplied by perpendicular distance from the pivot. There are two units for moments. They can be Newton centimetres or Newton metres. The unit for force is newtons, and the units for distance are metres or centimetres.